Hi, I'm Phil Palucha from Billionaires in Boxers, and you are about to engage with Up Level Your Communication, hosted by Maluna. Wow, this is going to be powerful. Communication is at the heart of everything that is good about business and about sharing with your fellow humans, and Maluna is phenomenal at helping you share that message and also interview some pretty special and amazing guests too. Check it out right now.
Welcome to Up Level Your Communication. I'm your host, Dr. Miluna Bausch. On this show, I will be interviewing some of the most interesting business people in the world. We'll focus on up-leveling your communication and leadership skills so that your voice can be heard and you can make an impact in the world. Welcome to Up Level Your Communication. My guest today shares that when she was in the Marine Corps, leaders told her on more than one occasion that she should turn down the sunshine, enthusiasm, and optimism. Some would say to her, you don't look like a Marine, or you are too happy to be a Marine. And she says, I don't know if these people meant it this way, but I took it to mean you don't fit our idea of a Marine. From our nation's capital, it's my pleasure to welcome to the show, Misty Cook.
That is probably my favorite introduction I've ever received. Thank you so much.
I read that on the blog, and Misty and I have spoken, and I just had to share that because she is such a warm and sharp and intelligent woman, as you will see more and more. Misty, please tell us first about your business, Concierge on Call, and who you serve.
Yes, ma'am. So, I retired from the Marine Corps in 2022 and started a consulting firm that supports the executive leadership. So the 3 and 4 stars are typically my clients, but general officers and admirals that are looking to start their own consulting business. So that's people that are going to go and be 1099 consultants, advisors, and board members. That's ideally what I do. And I take them through a 16-week journey that helps them, it's a roadmap, and it will collapse time for them so that they can just follow along instead of wondering, are they doing it in the right order? What goes first when you're starting a business? How do you start a business? And a lot of people get, they're sitting at their kitchen table after retirement. Somebody told them to start a business, but that's the end of it. They start an LLC and they don't know what's next. And how do you do that? So that's what I help them do so that they don't lose time. And we do it on, a drumbeat so that they don't take the wrong turns or spend too much money or spend, too much time doing something that's not important or that maybe should be put off until year 2 or 3, but you need to do other things first. And so I just kind of help guide them through that and help them brand themselves as a leader and as a consultant, as a strategist for young businesses or for defense contractors. But getting out there and kind of, starting over again is a real challenge for men and women that have served for 35 years. And so I just want to make it easier for them. These are, that's my community and who I set outside those doors and helped. And because I have so much admiration and respect for those men and women, I just want to make it easier for them.
We don't have the education and schools and maybe religious training. Things are messy out there. So I'm so glad. Now, you were in the Marines for 20 years.
That's right.
Before you became an entrepreneur. And you say that the sunshine is a real asset in this new environment. And as you've built this successful practice, tell us how the sunshine is now an asset. It always was, but tell us now what changed.
When you're in the service, especially, you don't have to really care for the person you work for, the person you work around. because there's a mission. And so you just get the job done. And then you also know that people are leaving every 6 months. The running joke is either you're leaving or your boss is leaving. And so you can just get through it. When I recognized you get out on the other side and now you are in private, industry, and people want to work with people they enjoy. They spend time with them. They want to feel, supported and encouraged, and they want to build real relationships. And that's valuable now. But when you're active duty, you don't have to, because somebody is senior to you or you're just telling them what to do and how to do it. And so the likability isn't really a requirement as the mission is. And so I felt like, wow, I've always loved people and I love, energy and all that. But you're right. It just wasn't, it's not common. People would be like, why are you so happy? I'm like, well, that's just my demeanor. But coming out, I laugh because I'm like, there's a lot of people that, what we use is like a joke is like a knife hand, they have this demeanor of like, is it personable? And that just doesn't work anymore. And so you're going to have a lot of people that have a hard time with that transition. And so, yes, I think that sunny disposition and people that just really want to be able to enjoy their company, but also work with them, is a valuable asset now.
It's such an important distinction. I love what you said. And to me, the combination of the initiative, we might say, that a military trained person has, this incredible drive and initiative, and then teach them how to open up that personality, because we want to work with people with charisma and leadership.
Right.
Joining us together, which is what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. The initiative and all that is in them. So it's just about that personality part. They haven't had to do that. Networking has not really been a requirement in DoD. And so that is a part that I have a lot of, young military members that are transitioning. I sat with one last week and he was like, man, what do I do when I get to these events? Like, they didn't even understand that. I'm like, well, I said, well, you know what? You have this new job. Like, do you have a supervisor and maybe his supervisor? I'm like, get an office call with them. Ask them who do they want to meet? What keeps them up at night? What are ideal people that they could talk to? Because then when you're out and about, that's who you're looking for. You're looking for your boss's person, that this ideal person that they'd like to talk to, so you can make a connection. They can go home at night. You're out doing a networking event, looking for those real ideal clients for your boss. And he's like, oh, I just didn't know what I was doing there. Like, it just didn't click on how to focus your efforts and make those intentional relationships or connections. It was just almost like, just stand there with your champagne glass and your sausage and meatballs and like, just talk to people. And that's just not, worth anybody's time.
It's so true. And what a beautiful strategy, because most of us weren't taught that. Military or not, I certainly wasn't taught that. And it's something I've had to learn. So, yeah. Now, I find something very fascinating that I want you to reveal to us. Not only did you create your new career, but your physical appearance changed completely on your website. I mean, you're so attractive, but it was you opened up in a whole nother way after you left the military, from what I can see physically, and probably emotionally, mentally, and everything else. Did you change the way you felt about yourself? How did you transform to, we'll say, the new Misty?
I didn't. All of that was there. Maybe my hair was braided, because the Marine Corps can't, well, we have gotten better. The hair requirements are a little different now that I've been left. But, all of that was inside of me. I just almost had to temper everything. And it goes back to like even my personality and the way to really fit in an organization, that is, 93, 94% male. And typically in organizations, there was 1 to 2 women in my organizations everywhere I went my entire career. So we just didn't have a lot of, support. There were our allies. We've got some allies, but not everybody. And so, no, physically, I didn't have to do anything other than paint my nails and do my hair. But I think there's a mentality shift for sure, that we're able to be ourselves. And I didn't have to conform to whatever the standard or the mission was. It was like the finally being able to, I'm 42 years old and able to do it my way now. And it didn't matter about rank or, what billet you were holding. And sometimes I think you're limited to a pay chart or pay band or this expectation as you fit into a certain box based off of that and not necessarily your capabilities. And being a CEO means I get to be, my very best self, and nobody gets to tell me what to do or how to do it, right? Obviously, I have to listen to my customer, but that's a really, the mindset of being able to do it the way that you're what, I think this is the right way, instead of somebody saying you can't do it that way, or they don't even want your opinion, right? Because you got to be a certain rank or a certain place in the pecking order. So, I think it was a mindset shift that I was ready. Some people ask me oh my gosh, did you go and get it, look for a job? And that never occurred to me. I mean, I'll tell you, I was 5 years out from retiring and I was planning this business and I was doodling on a piece of paper and driving my husband crazy because that was my hobby. And so it never occurred to me to go get a job. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I honestly don't think I knew how much work it was going to be or, the grind of an entrepreneur, but I was excited about it. And I tell people all the time, my worst day as an entrepreneur is my best day in the Marine Corps. And I truly mean it. Because I'm building something that came out of my mind. There's no other organization or company that's doing what I'm doing. I made it up from the need that's there and a gap in a market.
You did. I love it. So it sounds like you already have the mentality, the creativity of the entrepreneur. You were already dreaming and creating this. So the physical shift was more about now you're fully expressed.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Nails get painted, maybe a little more makeup. You can dress as beautifully as you wish.
Right.
And I think being the CEO of our companies, isn't that the biggest growth journey we'll ever go on? Starting our own businesses and practices and companies?
I cannot agree more. It is a personal growth. It never ends. It's always, as an entrepreneur, I think your brain is always on. And it's such a counterproductive concept when people say go for a walk. But I am telling you, the going for a walk is the most creative time when you are not thinking, purposely not thinking. Because when you're at your desk, it's almost like you're at writer's block on ideas and concepts or, what content you're going to write about. But the moment you walk away and just give yourself the freedom to not be thinking is when you have your best ideas. And I think it's because we're always thinking about, what's next? Who do we need to meet? Where should we be? Why are we not doing what we should be doing? Or, why didn't that person call me back? And it's nonstop. So how, I'm constantly asking my clients, okay, so what did you mean by this? Or when I was talking to you on the phone, I have this one client, I use her as my avatar. And, when you called and asked for this, you didn't know you needed this. What made it change for you? Constantly trying to tweak, how is my message being received, So it's a constant every day, trying to get better. And you're right, it's a growth for sure.
Biggest university ever, I think, despite all of our background and training.
So true.
Speaking of messaging and communication, you have identified there is a communication gap between veterans and the civilian business world.
Yeah.
So how do you help your folks navigate that and understand you're probably not going to be given orders anymore? This is going to be different communication.
Yeah. Do you know that, and maybe you would agree with this, but it is, I don't think, as much the veterans' problem because we can get there. We can help them understand, like, okay, this is what you accomplished. Most of them, especially at 35, 40 years, will tell you they don't want to be in charge. They're happy being part of a team and contributing their 40 years of experience to the project. They don't need to sit at the head of the table or take your job or all of the things. Like, that's not what they're there for. They want to just, support national security in a different way. And so, I'm constantly, it's the other side. It's the idea of helping the private industry or these defense companies or the ones that are trying to sell to defense companies. It's helping them understand that they don't want that. They really do want to contribute to part of the team. And, when I get these pushbacks of like, they're going to be some general that, led, hundreds of thousands of men and women. And it's like, yes, they did do that, but they're crystal clear that they aren't doing that right now. They're just General John Smith retired, and they want to contribute to the conversation and help you win, whatever that looks like to your company. And bringing somebody with that level of experience on as a project or, just to help you strategize is really extremely valuable. And so I think it's the other side. And that's why I'm always kind of foot stomping that, just give them a chance. They're not confused on where they are in the hierarchy chart anymore. They know exactly where they are. They're retired, but they still want to work and when they want to contribute.
They're here to contribute, and they have much to contribute. I don't know a lot about military. I'm learning from you. My husband, listen to me. My brother was a Navy man.
Yeah.
My husband is a high voltage engineer, and sometimes he will, let me back up for a second. Not so many younger folks want to go into mechanical engineering and civil engineering and electrical engineering anymore. And I'm thinking, who's going to balance and work the infrastructure in our country and around the world?
Yeah.
And when he has someone that is retired military, they have been some of his best folks ever. They're coachable, they're trainable, they have a work ethic, a discipline. They understand being part of a team. Yeah. And as you said, give them a chance. The first person I would look at is somebody with military training. I really would, because I know on some level the discipline that is involved with that and the commitment to doing that.
Yeah.
So thank you. Give people a chance. They're not wanting to be in charge anymore. They want to take a break from that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I just did a post just last week about, or maybe it was this week, about, these kind of misconceptions of like, are we aggressive? They'll say that, and it's like, maybe we're direct, but the reason we've been so direct is because we have an 18-year-old and all the way to 55-year-old that are, all over the country, and we're giving specific orders to do specific things in a geographically dispersed environment. And so we have to make sure that how we say it and the way we communicate is crystal clear. So to a civilian's ears, it could seem direct, but it's just the way to ensure everybody at every level, from the PFC to the general, understands exactly what the order was, right? And so trying to demystify, like, maybe you call it aggressive, but this is why, or, we can't be timid because nobody would follow us, and we're in environments where there's no way that you can be second guessed, and you need to be confident in the way that you're presenting yourself. So yeah, I think there is, there's a lot of stereotypes, and then, I made the point that 5.5% of Americans have served our country. So that is a real, tiny blip on a radar when it comes to hiring managers. And I ask, private industry should look around and put a military member on these hiring panels, because how can the 95% of you sit on a panel and tell us that they're not a good fit when they have no real understanding of the value? So putting somebody on the panel that can say, okay, articulate exactly what they have done in their career to their fellow, panel members and hiring managers to say, okay, I can give you an example of what they did in business terms, because the person that's sitting on that interview, maybe they don't have the language and the business language yet to articulate it well. But if you tap into the people that are there, they can help you understand what they've done well in the military and how that would help that new organization.
Gorgeous. Yes. Include that on a panel so that all the perspectives are represented. And I love what you said, because sometimes when we're clear, and I would say assertive, and of course there's a difference between aggressive and assertive, but how else could it be? And the more clear and confident and assertive we are, the better we're understood. Right. So in an emergency, I don't want someone on the plane going, come over here. No, I'm going to be using the Queen voice. Get over here now. This is what is needed in certain situations, and to be able to shift with what is needed in the marketplace.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have you found that your own voice, I don't mean so much physically, but in the big picture, has your voice changed since going from the Marines to being a businesswoman? How has that changed, or has it?
You know what? I don't think my voice has changed. I have always, I feel like I could probably put like 3 or 4 bosses on this webinar. And so the Marine Corps prides themselves on speaking truth to power. And, I've always felt like I've been able to what I have felt or seen or heard. So I use my platform to do just that, is, speak to people that maybe think the stereotypes and call them out, and share the value that I know my community of 5%, what they can bring. So I don't think my voice so much, but I will say that maybe the confidence that it's missing, and that there should be more advocates, and to not get disappointed or discouraged that I'm just going to continue to be a squeaky wheel, and I'm going to continue to talk about how amazing these men and women are. And now when I have young men and women that send me notes, or they get on a call and they want to know how to network, or, I spend every Tuesday with veterans. It's like my weekly give back. And then they follow up and they send me a note that says, I went to an event, or I got a job, or, and that, that's really what it's all about, is seeing the value that they know they have inside of them, and somebody just has to recognize it. So no, I don't think I found new voice, more or less, but I have found a place to build the confidence in the ones that are walking out.
Oh, that's so gorgeous. I love it. Well, I have no doubt that your advocacy is making a huge impact out there, and you are the one.
I hope so.
I know you are. I can see it. I can feel it. I have no doubt. So, is there anything else you'd like to share with us? If not, those are my questions for today. I definitely want you to share with people how they can connect with you.
Yeah, so you can find me online at nextcoc.com, and that's just my website. I think, the one thing I will leave you with is these organizations, businesses, right now I really am pivoting on and really making the connections with organizations that want to connect with general officers as advisors. And so my goal is to find these companies that don't know how to get access to retired 3 and 4 stars and be an agent for them. And so that's my goal, is to reach out to business, and bring in an opportunity that maybe they just don't have that capability, or, more of a fractional opportunity that they couldn't afford them full time, but they can definitely utilize them from projects or strategic thought. So that would be my ask for, you and your audience, is those companies that say military friendly, show me military friendly. And that's by picking up the phone and utilizing these men and women. So that's my ask. And then as far as clients go, for my retirees and veterans, I will share with you and your audience my landing page that explains the 16-week program and how I support them through building their consulting firm, branding it, and then, building the momentum to launch their company. So I will share that with you, and then some marketing material on how I do it and some frequently asked questions. So those are the three ways you can reach out to me. Of course, LinkedIn, that's where I live. As far as my public social media presence is just right there.
I love it. That's my platform as well. That's how we met.
Yes.
We learned it. Misty, thank you so much. And all of this information to connect with her will be in the show notes. I so appreciate your love for the military, the service, the heart of service that you have. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with our audience today.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure, and thank you for having me. I hope to see you soon.
Yes, maybe a trip to Washington, D.C. is in order, or if you happen to come down to Charleston here.
Right. I'm a Citadel grad, so that's all stopping grounds for me.
That's right. We'll have a conversation post-show about that.
Yes. Okay, sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye to our audience for now, and don't forget, stay tuned for the next Up-Level Your Communication show. Thanks for watching. Be sure to share our show with the key leadership at your company and with your friends. If you know in your heart that you're ready to up-level your speaking, stage presence, and impact, visit milunafausch.com to schedule a complimentary call. You can also purchase my book and our podcast music, Strong Body.
Thank you for enjoying this content by Billionaires in Boxes. If you would like to be a guest or a host, be sure to get in contact with us at billionairesinboxes.com.